Welcome to the Tip to Tip podcast. How I Met Your Mother recap, rewind, rewatch, whatever the fuck it is. Oh yeah, we could cuss. This is my podcast. I was gonna say, can we cuss? Fuck yeah, we can. Um, so this episode is season 1, episode 5. Okay, awesome. I did a little extra homework this week. This had a Rotten Tomato score of 67%.
That's
But the
pretty
popcorn
low.
meter, which is what like the people feel, is a 90%. And I agree with that.
I agree with the 90%. I feel like
I
67 is very low for this episode.
Yeah, and Rotten Tomatoes is terrible at that. I mean,
Agreed.
The Godfather probably has like 4 tomatoes. So
This was a top tier episode for so early in the series.
yes, it was. Well, we'll get into it because there's just a lot of
There's a
things
lot to
that
unpack.
anybody can relate to in this. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. So I did a little different this week. My little highlighting. The yellow
Wow.
The yellow is Barney, Robin, and Ted. And the orange is Lily and Marshall.
I love it.
I did a little time at work while I was
It's
that was
almost
actually
like
on my lunch break.
it's almost like now we know what we're doing.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit easier. And when I can sit at lunch and like highlight at lunch, it's nice to sit at my desk and just be focused.
Right.
All right. Robin has been invited by the club owners to come to OK, which is their club, their hip, the most I don't know what is it. It's popular. Like I don't.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like the club to be at. That's where
like the A-lister club.
Yeah, that's where the people be going.
That's where the people be going.
I don't even think we have one of those anymore in Cleveland, Ohio.
Not anymore. I mean, I know back in the day, like the place to be was Barroom
Barroom, yes.
or Exquisite.
Yeah, Exquisite. And then there was Velvet Dog, but they closed that too.
Was that a club?
It was kind of a club. I think like the top part of it, like bottom part was more like people that didn't drink like I drink, and top part was people that drank like I drink.
Okay.
Is what I think.
Fair. That explains why we had an air show party there.
Yeah, that's why we were on the top floor. I just want to say that this week's podcast is brought to you by the local MILFs. Looking for all local MILFs. If you'd like to be a local MILF with me, please shoot me an email at grantpaul013@gmail.com.
Hold on. You can't be a MILF.
No, well, they would MILF, and I would be with them by inserting, like 5-star local MILF.
If the local MILFs would like to support Grant.
If the local MILFs would like to get on, in, or around Grant, please reach out at grantpaul013@gmail.com or go to the website tip2tippod.com and go from there. Where were we? All right. So Robin has been invited to the club by the club's owner to come to OK, a new dance club. Okay, so that's why it's the new, like everybody's got to be there. Like when Exquisite came around.
Yeah.
Like you went from Barroom and you're like, whoa, there's this new place to be. That's where we need to go.
You know, I actually did not catch that it was a new club.
I didn't either.
Remember her saying like, "Oh, the owner works out at my gym."
So Barney says, I thought it was funny here because I wrote this down because it kind of reminds me of me. Barney says a friend of his waited for 2 hours to get in the club, and Ted was like, does that friend have the same name as you? And Barney's like, your friend has the same name as Shut Up, Ted.
Yes.
a very me thing to say.
I also love the very beginning. There's so many good one-liners in this episode.
Yes.
But the first one-liner comes in like I don't know, a minute and a half in when Barney goes, "Okay, that's awesome." And Ted goes, "What's happening? Did I just have a stroke?"
I have a stroke. He's like
he really is and will always be the old soul of the group.
Yes. All right. So Ted and Barney agree to come. But now this is the orange highlighter. But Marshall and Lily are hosting a wine party so that Marshall and Lily can begin to be more mature. Lily felt out of place when she found out that other couples their age partake in much more mature activities than they do. this was so it also was that balance we were talking about that Marshall's been struggling with. And this is the first time that Lily is like, well, man, maybe we shouldn't like be at McLaren's every day. Maybe we shouldn't be going on Ted missions with Ted. Maybe we need to get with people like us.
Yeah.
A couple
Yeah.
people. Did you and Tim ever go through that?
A little bit. So I really resonated with both sides of Lily in this episode. The early sides where she's like, we need to be more mature, we need to grow up, we're fiancés now. Because I definitely did that. And like, I mean, it was probably pretty obvious. I tried to do that not to Tim,
Yeah.
but kind of like enforce, we're
Well, I mean,
adults. We
yeah,
need
like we
to
gotta all grow up.
yeah,
But
we need to grow up
yeah,
a little bit more. We can't be closing down scoreboards
yeah,
every night. Um,
yeah.
which is where Lily's at the beginning. So I think her way of trying to get Marshall to mature was in both of their best interests, but probably a little bit rushed because again, I think us as viewers and also them as characters, not necessarily them as actors, they forget that they're only 26.
I agree. And
Like that's so young.
I think that they want Lily wants this, but she forgets who her friends are.
Mm-hmm.
Like she doesn't resonate with those people.
Yeah,
She resonates with these other people. And like you said, they got married. They're not married yet, but they got together and engaged at such a young age. They're actually the ones that are ahead as opposed to Barney, Ted, and Robin,
exactly. They're
which they
speeding
talk
they're
about at the end of the
speeding up the
episode.
timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think I have any other notes on that. Let me see. Oh yeah, here we go. This is good. We were just talking earlier about how this is the grown up. We were literally talking about how no, never mind. I don't know what the hell I was saying. Anyway, Ted and Barney go. Ted and Barney go to club. Go to club. Ted has agreed to meet Robin's friend Kelly, while Barney decides to find a cutlet to grind with. So here
Hated
is
that so
my
much.
first question. They were at the apartment, obviously picking up Ted
Mm-hmm.
for the club, and Lily says something to Barney. Oh, fish and women. They
I
both
have
like shiny objects.
Yep, I have that written down.
And was this the first time that Barney references his blog?
I
I thought it was.
I think so.
I
Yeah.
think so. So that's an ongoing thing. He's got a blog, and in Barney's head, everybody reads the blog.
Everybody needs to live by the blog
Yeah,
too.
but
Not just
nobody
read it, but live
I don't
by
even
it.
think at this time anybody's blogging. I think blogging is a past tense thing.
I don't know. I mean, it's 2005 still. People blog in
Yeah, okay.
2005.
It was probably that weird time where nobody really knew what it was.
Yeah.
He hadn't got into any kind of popular blogging.
Yeah.
Basically, Barney was just writing on the internet to himself.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it was.
For the most part,
Yeah,
yeah.
those AOL discs. He's like, man, he's 3 hours at a time.
I do love the scene where they go to the apartment to pick up Ted, and Ted's getting ready to leave, and Lily goes, Ted, your blazer. And he goes, What? What? And she goes, Somebody spilled gorgeous all over it.
Yes.
Fabulous.
What hold on, I gotta look something up. What is a cutlet?
It's gonna tell you it's chicken or something.
I know. Oh, now it makes sense to me. A cutlet is a thin slice of meat. So Barney is looking for a thin slice of meat.
Okay.
It's often made by pounding a single piece of meat until it's evenly thin. So
I hate that even more now. There's so many layers to that.
there's a little background on that.
I'm
And
happy.
He said it, and then I read it, and I'm like, what the like? I know what a cutlet is. I cook, but like, I'm like in terms of women, but that makes sense. A cutlet is a thin piece of meat, often made by pounding a single piece of meat until it's evenly thin.
I always just
That means
figured that-
intercoursing.
Yes, yeah, no, I got that.
She's thin.
I always just assumed that it meant thank you for that clarification. I really needed it.
I wasn't sure if you, and yeah. And
We're
he,
off to
and
we're off
he
to a phenomenal start.
Cutlet's out there emailing it.
Oh God. I always thought he was just using the word cutlet because like I've never met a person who doesn't like a chicken cutlet.
Oh, she just thought he was looking for his perfect piece of chicken cutlet out there. That seems more like a Ted approach on the topic.
I mean, yeah,
Just
maybe.
finding that perfect cutlet that just goes into my mouth so perfectly. Sounds like
I
Barney's like,
mean.
yeah, I want to put a cutlet in my mouth. Um, so Marshall becomes very bored at their wine tasting party and escapes by jumping out the bathroom window. Although future Ted questions whether this actually happened. So this is what I was going to say as we were talking about earlier. We were going through club stories with each other earlier because I have like four core memories of clubbing,
Hmm.
but somehow they're all meshing together.
Yeah.
And like if I were to tell them to my kids, I'd probably just tell them as one big story.
That's because, as Ted Mosby said, most clubs suck. So
Yes.
I think we all internalized our club memories into our brain as like one night
Yeah.
because we didn't really want to like believe that we went to clubs multiple times and each night was just kind of a meh.
Yeah. It was never at the club that was, now we had good times before the club.
Yeah,
We would have good times after the club or driving to and fro from the club but never at the club.
yeah. Yeah, the club always sucked, but the
Yeah.
pregame was awesome
Yes.
and the Taco Bell or Best Gyro after party was always
Right. Or
awesome.
whatever Uber we made BFFs with on our way home saying inappropriate things to, or whoever our DD was that regretted instantly DDing for us. um, Meanwhile, Robin cannot get into the VIP area, even though she was invited there. She walks out. Well, she walks outside to leave to get away from live music to try to call to get into the VIP. Now, I think this is funny because we've just spent 4 episodes discussing how nobody watches Robin's news station. So, so I think she got like when I used to intern for WGAR,
Hmm.
they would give us things like, "Hey, Slyman's is open, and here's some passes to go get Slyman's first." So I think Robin thought this was like a special, or like they give you passes to go see a movie a day early. So I
Yeah.
think Robin thought maybe that was she was getting this as her being so popular.
Yeah, she was getting perks out of her job, but
Yeah,
really she was getting a little too big for her britches
yes,
since
and
we've already established that nobody watches this news channel.
and I think they talked about it on the podcast that they should have incorporated her becoming popular for falling in the horse crap. That's what
Oh,
they should have been
yeah.
incorporated with.
Yeah.
Because then
That would have been a
now it makes
great
no
move.
sense how she's just. So my only thought is she thinks she's more popular than she is, and
Or
this,
they could have just ran with the whole the owner works out at my gym.
yeah,
They could
yes,
have pushed that a little bit more.
right,
But it did feel kind of forced when she's like, "Oh yeah, he loves the way that I do the news." It's like, "Okay, is he your only viewer
and that
then?"
is true. Barney then says that he wants to give her the VIP, and she says, "What does VIP stand for?" And he goes, "I don't know, but I know the last letter is for penis." Oh, sometimes it's hard to believe the show was on network TV in 2000.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. So while she's out there, Marshall comes running up because he did his leap of destiny through the window. And again, this is Marshall really struggling with FOMO. He
Yeah.
really has that fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So he's
And also
really
the fear of growing up too fast. Like
right. Like he's
when
like, these are not my people. I don't want to let my wine sit. Like they
yeah.
were like, the wine needs to sit, and they're like,
What do
what?
you mean?
They're both holding bottles. Like, let's start drinking. And they're like, we need to let it sit.
And you can very easily see the disappointment on his face when Ted and Barney leave the apartment and
Yes.
Ted says something along the lines of like, "Grandma, Grandpa, don't wait up." And then they close the door and then we're left with just a pan of Marshall staring at the door like, "Oh shit, my boys just left me."
Yeah, Marshall was very upset he wasn't invited.
Yes.
And I get it. It wasn't intentional. Ted had told Robin they're doing this whole couples thing, and they didn't. I don't think I think in Ted's head, he didn't want him to feel obligated to choose one or the other. So Ted
Yeah.
just made the choice for him.
Yeah.
Which hurt Marshall's feelings. So she lets Marshall in. However, Robin cannot get back in the club because a different guy is a bouncer. So Marshall goes in, and then Robin turns to keep calling or whatever, and they switch bouncers.
Mm-hmm.
So the bouncer that originally let her in.
Fun fact. The bouncer switch, the big bulky dude that comes in for the second half of being the bouncer.
Yes.
He was also the bouncer in the Ted Mosby Architect episode.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, same dude.
He's a career bouncer.
Same dude. I remember the voice because
people really kept jobs in the How I Met Your Mother universe.
They really did.
No matter what the job was, they really kept jobs.
I recognized his voice immediately, and I was like, wait, why isn't he taking Robin's purse? Because in the Ted Mosby Architect episode, he goes, that's a nice bag. My girl likes clutches.
Yep. Also, fun fact, which I read, one of the nerds in line, there were the nerds in line. When Marshall walked in, the one goes, oh, wow, he looks really familiar. I think I know him from somewhere. And then they call him
Brian Affleck.
Brian Affleck. Fun fact, the guy that says that was in Freaks and Geeks with...
no shit.
Yeah. So that's Jason Segel. That's how it was just a fun play on the situation.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
So then Ted's trying to talk with Kelly, and he becomes frustrated that the music is loud, and this is so mean. I would tell you guys all the time, I gotta minimize this cutlery. It's distracting me.
You still have it up.
Yeah, so I would tell you guys all the time, I hate clubs. I can't talk to any of the girls. My charm is talking to somebody, getting to know them, making them laugh. I'm not just going to roll up like Barney rolls right up on that girl and starts grinding.
Yeah.
I have, one, not enough confidence to do that. And two, I think it's disrespectful.
None of us were great dancers either.
No, and I was a fucking Caucasian male that wasn't like jacked or anything. I didn't like, I wasn't out there like Jersey Shore in it. And so Ted becomes frustrated about the loud music and starts yelling nonsense upon delivering that Kelly can't hear him anyway. Totally have been there. Just yelling shit. Like, oh, I suck dick in the bathroom. Oh, this place is going to burn down. Nobody can hear you. No one. And then we walk outside to smoke or something, be like, Tim, did you hear what I said? He'd be like, yeah. I'm like, dude, no, you didn't. Because I just told you I'm going to push you in front of a car or something. Like, I know you didn't hear what I said.
Oh, my God.
So Ted yells real loud, as I just stated I did, I'm wetting my pants. And just as the music suddenly shuts off, so it must have been like switching songs.
Yeah.
And he yelled, and then future Ted notes that it was, then he realized that clubs in fact sucked. Because Kelly obviously was like, oh, wow, that's a really random thing to say when we have not said anything to each other.
Right? Like, okay, I'm out. Bye.
Why are you announcing that on the dance floor? That's awkward.
I also do love the subtle look down.
Yeah.
Because he goes, I'm wetting my pants. And she just immediately goes,
right. She's like, all
before
right.
walking away.
So, clubs, as we said, indeed do suck. I cannot think about anything good that happens at a club.
Also, something that still holds true to this day, unless you find like your local hole in the wall bar like we did.
Yes.
When you go to a club or you go to like a fancier downtown bar, you're paying $34 for 10
That's right.
beers.
I do have, where'd I have that? I had that written somewhere. That that it was I think it was $34 for his drink, because Ted was, and that's another thing, you can't hear the bartender.
Yeah.
So you're like doing sign language, trying to figure out what you owe. They're like, just take my card. Like, what, dude? I don't know. Like,
I'll figure out what it costs later.
Right. I'll be upset about it tomorrow. Like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got a note up here that I really want to know. Oh, Barney says, oh man, I got to rewind a second because this was funny. Um, when they were in the booth, Ted was telling Barney all the things Lily and Marshall are going to start doing.
Mm.
And Barney was like, all things you do when you know where your next 1,000 lays are coming from.
Yes, that's a great line.
I was like, oh,
So
that's pretty
many good
solid.
one-liners in this episode.
Yes.
So many good ones.
So, this is where things get interesting to me. So,
I do have one comment before we get
no,
into that.
please.
I just I was astonished by the way the interior of the club looked. And this will kind of lead into the next portion of the episode because when they walk into the club, there's like velvet walls and
Yeah,
like kind of fancier decor. And immediately in my mind, I'm like, I've never been to a club in Cleveland that looked like that. Like
I don't even remember what they look like, honestly.
they were just dark.
I just
Um,
remember seeing shoulders and feet
lots
walking
of
through people.
lots of metal,
Shoulders, feet, and trying to just hold on to whoever was ever in front of me.
lots
That's
of
all I
metal, very
remember.
dark, strobe lights, fog machine. There
Yeah,
was no fog machine. There was a little bit of like funky lighting in this club, but
that is true.
it looked fancier than your average dance club. And then when they pan to the men's room wall, it looks like, did you ever go to Peabody's before they
Yes.
shut down? It looked like a grunge concert
Bathroom. Yes,
venue,
yes, yes. 100%.
which really threw me because like you see the dance floor and you see the interior of like the bar and the main portion of the club and it looks very like uppity, like
Right.
you're in a social club. And then they pan to the bathroom and it looks like a punk rock grunge concert venue.
Also, a fun Tim fact. Do you remember when we went to Exquisite? I believe it was Exquisite.
It probably was.
They had the gentleman in the bathroom that would give you cologne and shit.
Yeah.
And Tim was like, he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom again. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, he's like, I've never had somebody in the bathroom give me stuff. I said, what do you mean give you stuff? He's like, I got gum from him. I said, dude, are you giving him money? He's like, no. And I gave him a $5. I'm like, dude, put money in his thing. Like, this is his livelihood. And I had
What
like
they're there
explained to
for.
Tim that like this person was doing this for tips, but for a living. But
Oh
he
my God.
was so blown away. And then I remember we went to man, it was like Christie's or somewhere like that where they had door people. And he was like, oh yeah, I know all about this. Like he was just like he was so
I did not know this about
yeah.
my husband.
He's like telling people, he's like, yeah, I know all about the the bathroom guy.
The
I'm well
bathroom
aware.
guy
I know
etiquette.
the situation. Like, you need me to fill you in? Everyone's like, no, nobody needs you. Nobody needs to be filled in on this.
Leave it to Tim. He had to be the one to like
I
be the
just
one to know
remembered that
first.
while we were talking about bathroom.
Oh my God. Wow, even to this day, I'm still finding out new things about him.
Oh, I will never forget that. That was great.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest,
And
though,
I'm
because like
sure oh, maybe not. Maybe he hasn't seen one before. But
I feel like he probably did, though.
yeah, like I feel like it's not like it would use. I don't know. I just feel like it was really blew my fucking mind.
For someone who prominently worked in the restaurant
That's what
industry,
I'm saying.
it's hard to believe that he never came across that until we went to Exquisite.
Right?
Um, but also, like, not for nothing, and I'm not gonna shit on my late husband, but Tim loved free stuff.
It's true. And the fact he thought it was free, this dude was probably ready to kill him. There was no the only other people that were peeing that much in the club were doing cocaine. It was strictly going there for bubblegum and Listerine. Oh, so speaking of cocaine,
Love him.
Ted becomes the musician job. Future Ted notes that he realizes the clubs in fact sucked. Ted prepares to leave, but stays for a bit when Marshall arrives. This is when Ted meets the coat check girl.
The coat wench.
Yes, the coat wench, which I got right there, which he clicks with. And I don't even know they necessarily clicks with her or him. It's just that one, somebody's talking to her. Like she's not just, and two, he's finally able to talk to someone.
Yeah.
So like they're getting along.
Yeah. He's in
I
like
don't
a
know if it's like
quiet
a,
room having a conversation.
yeah.
He's
And
doing
that's
the
all
Ted
he
Mosby.
wanted was to talk to someone.
He's doing the Ted Mosby.
Yes. So that was funny. Then as they walk away, Marshall's like, all right, I'll catch up with you, Ted. See you later, to coat lunch. He goes, no offense, it just fit the scenario. So they both get beers, which this is, I've had this happen to me. It's the worst. They both get beers, but Marshall gets bumped in his, it says his mouth, but he gets bumped in his arm while he's drinking the beer and it bangs his teeth, which if you've drank around a close like amount of people, it happens all the freaking time
Oh,
on
it's the
bottles
worst.
of beer. It's terrible.
Worst.
And it always feels like at the time you busted your tooth out, but you don't know because you're drunk.
Yeah.
So you're like, is it there? Like, oh, good. You got people looking at it like, I don't know. Like we all, it's just, but Marshall also had a temporary crown put in earlier that day, which knocked it out, which I like that we didn't know. And then old Ted pops in and he's like, oh, by the way, kids, I forgot to tell you. Which they're really toying with the future narrator and how he can adjust the story
Yes.
as he's going along.
Yeah, very much so.
So Marshall is now in pain. Ted goes down to the coat area to check and hang out with the coat check girl, the wench. And while Marshall finds Barney, who suggests going to the bathroom to find some aspirin. When Marshall comes out of the bathroom, he is miraculously no longer in pain, sporting a somewhat euphoric expression on his face.
And no pupils at all.
Nope. So I have watched this a million times and never thought drugs.
Oh, I did.
I guess I never, maybe I have. I just never really thought it was that big of a deal. But drugs are referenced so much in this show.
So much. See, the first couple of times I watched this episode, I never thought it was Coke. I thought he did like an ecstasy.
Okay, I put Coke or like a Molly or
yeah.
Just because this says euphoric and the way he was like, ooh, kind of like my body feels weird.
And then he immediately couldn't stop moving.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, yeah. I thought it was not that we would know. We actually with cutlets Google what drugs do to you.
It was on the same page.
It was weird. Cutlet drugs. It was great. That's all right. Whoever's listening can pee test me now. I'm as clean as clean gets. Don't get much cleaner than this. Meanwhile, Lily comes to the club, also having escaped from the party. Can we just say that they just left all these random strangers in their apartment, just chilling? And the strangers are so disinterested. As much as Lily and Marshall are disinterested in them, they're so disinterested in Lily and Marshall that they're just having their own party without.
None of them noticed. They didn't go into the bathroom or knock on the bathroom door to check on either of them. They're just sitting in the living room playing like Catan or some shit.
I forgot to mention that one chick was like, or the guy's like, oh, you and Lily think about having kids or whatever? And Marshall's like, God, no, kids are awful. And the lady's like, I'm 3 months pregnant.
Yep.
Well, this doesn't have to be awkward if we don't make it awkward.
And then they cut to the scene in the kitchen and he's like, high interest rates. I'm 3 months pregnant. And she's like behind him. And he goes, now that's how you make it awkward.
It's great.
So good.
So, and so basically Lily goes there to beat Marshall's ass. So she runs into Robin and she's like, you need to get me in the club.
I mean, rightfully so. How many times have Tim and I had plans and I'm expecting to pick him up at a certain time to go do something, and then I arrive and the two of you are face down in a bucket of Budweiser and all of a sudden our plans aren't happening. My initial reaction is, I'm gonna beat this kid's ass.
That happened a lot with 2 other friends we know too. Mike and Crystal would often have that same scenario. Yeah. Crystal would come around and me and Mike would be in a bottle or something.
Yep.
Or even watching movies, we'd be balls deep in Avengers or something. And they were supposed to go out. And he's like, it's Avengers.
Avengers.
It's, we could have watched it at any time. It's no big deal. Yeah. So Robin convinces Lily that she doesn't have to mature like other couples. basically saying, hey, you don't have to. There's no specific mold for anybody in life.
Mm-hmm.
We grow. I think when we grow up, and it probably has taken me to my mid 30s now, to realize I don't. I just got to be the best version of me.
Yes,
I don't have to be what you're supposed to be at 34. People
exactly.
at 34 can have houses, they can have kids, they can have dogs, they can have a relationship. It doesn't. Yesterday, I had a podcast with my friend Katie, who's living RV life. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's different. Go check that podcast out. Everybody's different, and I think for so long in our youth we have this,
Expectation.
yeah, and this, we need to be at this certain point at this certain time in our
Yeah,
lives.
we have to
And
we
that
have to
was
fit a
very
mold
cemented
that
in us.
yeah.
We talked about that before, how I don't even know if it was on the podcast because I'm losing track of whether we talked in podcasts or, um, but like after school, you had to go to college. Once
Yes.
you graduated college, you had to get the job you wanted in that degree. Then you
Mm-hmm.
had to pay your student loans. Then you had to get a house. And that's just not how things are.
No, it's not. Not, it's an unpredictable and it's also a very unreliable mold that
Yes,
most people do not fit into.
agreed. And we call it, my people, call it life on life's terms,
My
is what
people.
we say. My people, this
Are you
sophisticated,
are you in like an
intelligent.
indigenous tribe or
I'm
something? Oh
pretty
wait,
much.
no. That was
I'm.
Tim.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I am. Indigenously. Mentally. Well, I'm a little slow, I think, as the kids call it. Um, but I do believe in life on life's terms. You can't control what the hell's happening
Oh, for
in
sure.
life. Life just kind of goes, and we kind of just got to bob and weave with it.
Exactly. And you can't hold yourself to the standards that other people are setting for themselves.
Exactly. All you can
Because
do is
that
the
not,
standard you set for yourself.
yeah, that may not be the life you want to live. So like why
Agreed.
pretend to live somebody else's life?
Exactly. So wise of us.
We're smart.
Wise.
Claps in chat for Linda and Grant.
We're getting into something real great. Boobies. I love it. My two dose kiddos.
Oh my God.
So Lily convinces Robin that the only way to get in the club is to flash their tits to the bouncer, which, in
Been there.
fairness, flashing your tits, notoriously, at least while we were growing up, pretty much got you whatever you wanted from a guy.
Agreed. Agreed.
Now you probably go to jail. Who knows?
Being a woman with nice tits, it's got its perks.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much I wouldn't do for a set of tits. I would, I'm not gonna lie about it. So they flash their breasts to the bouncer, and some surrounding nerds that are still waiting in line. By the way,
Right, it's been a whole night. And they're
um,
first in line too. Like,
so one of the nerds, this was fantastic. One of the nerds then proclaims that they were the best four breasts or the best four boobs he has ever seen, even though they were the only four boobs he has ever seen.
yep,
Facts.
facts.
So so I'm gonna share a little story come up here. I just gotta figure out how to say it, although I read you said indigenous. So inside inside the club, Barney discovers the cutler he has been grinding with all night is actually his cousin, Leslie. After he finds out, he makes Ted swear not to tell anyone ever. So me and Tim were at a party, right? this was BL before Linda.
Okay.
So we're at a party in Akron. I don't remember how we got there. I remember how we got there. I just don't know how we were invited or what the scenario was. But I was dead set, and I was at least kissing a girl that night. Like I was, Tim's like, all right, dude. And then eventually was like, you were like really focused on this. Like it's almost too much. I'm making it happen. Like when I say I'm doing something, I'm doing it. So we're getting to the end of the night. We're pretty lit up like Christmas trees. Well, I am. And
Timmy probably was too.
yeah, I think I don't know if I was smoking weed because it's really not a me thing to do. But I know there was weed being smoked. And I was jealous of Tim because I thought I was talking to this girl. I'm like, I'm gonna swipe her from him. So I did, and I was making out with her and stuff, and
Oh my God.
we left the party, and him and our friend Chicken Dinner are laughing at me,
I know this
and
story.
I'm like, yeah, like you guys are salty as fuck because I just took that girl from you, Tim. Like I seen you talking to her. He's like, dude, she's handicapped. I'm like, what do you mean, dude? That's not cool.
It's
I
not
guess the
cool.
girl was like, she wasn't like in a wheelchair, like or anything, you know.
Bro,
You know,
bro.
I just, you know, she wasn't a veggie. So
Oh my God.
so, okay, well, maybe when I said I should figure out how to say this, maybe I should have done that.
We
But
should
it
clip
was
this part out.
probably, it was like love on the spectrum. You know, she was probably a little artistic. So,
I'm actually watching Love on the Spectrum.
yeah, oh, it's great, great show.
It's so good.
Great show.
Yeah.
So she wasn't like fully on the spectrum. I think she was like a, you know, border case. It wasn't, you know, but she did have some quirks about her in hindsight that I probably should have picked up on.
I
So
do love that, like, back in the day, we didn't say, oh, that girl's autistic, or like that
yeah,
girl's on the spectrum.
I mean, I can tell you
That
exactly what Tim said if you
that
want.
girl was handicapped. Like,
Oh no, he said she's retarded.
oh, okay. Yeah,
That's what he said. I can say
that
that he's not
tracks.
here, so it's fine.
That tracks.
He can't get canceled.
You can't get into any more trouble.
So that made me, and I only share that story because it made me think when Ted swears not to tell anyone.
Hmm.
Tim swore he would never tell anybody that story, and everybody
Oh, I knew
knows
that
that
story.
story.
That's like one of the first stories I heard.
Everybody knows it. She was a good kisser from what I remember, but
That's all that matters.
I
You
also
accomplished your goal for the night.
right. That's what I'm saying. He didn't see it for the big picture. You know, it wasn't about what if that was her. I that might be her first and only kiss today, and it could have been me. You know, because maybe she, you know, all right, she probably doesn't want to live with that on her shoulders, but she's like being autistic's better than that guy being the last person I ever kissed. Oh God, there's a hot seat in hell for me.
Yeah, a
So
little bit.
Barney tries to leave, but because Robin and Lily have returned, they got in. They stay for a bit, and Marshall and Lily dance at the club. So Marshall's out there, you know, because he's feeling good now.
I do love that, like, this is, we've seen Marshall's like songs that he does a little
Yes,
bit so far. We saw him do the robot in episode 1, which we talked about that being like a carryover through the entire series. But you really get to see Marshall's dance skills in this episode. He is just going to town, like lighting up
yes.
that dance floor.
Well, you know
And
why? He's
yeah,
got more extra energy.
well, yeah. And he hits the robot again,
Yep, I
like
have in here
this
Marshall's sick dance moves.
so flawlessly. And when
Uh,
he does like the robot hanging arm, he's looking over at Lily and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm fucked."
So before they start dancing and stuff, I want to go back to the coat rack where Barney runs up to Ted. At that moment, a few things happened for me. One, Ted and Barney realized that the reality of growing up really hits you like a freight train.
Yep.
They very much are just like, this is not for us. Like,
Hmm.
we're not. And then Ted says, tipper to the coat wench, to Barney, to the coat wench. And Barney says, I'm not tipping her. This is her job. What should she get tipped for? I don't even. And he starts on a rant, and Ted goes, so, anyways, Barney was grinding with this girl all night. Here.
I also do love that right before Barney comes down and that whole scene plays out, Ted is trying to put on as many coats as he can in the coat check room. And when Barney comes down,
He's like,
Ted
get your
is
coat on.
Ted is wearing like 12 coats. And Barney's like, get your coat, we're leaving.
And if you looked, Ted's coat is at the very bottom of all the coats.
Yep, yep. It's the first layer.
And again, another instance where Barney barks something at you, and you're like, no, I'm not doing that.
We did that to you a lot back in the day. You would bark shit at us, and we would just be like, Grant,
Yeah,
no,
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 we're all out. No, we're not.
no.
All right, well, I guess we're gonna stay here then.
Oh my God.
So, um, Robin, Ted, and Barney watched Marshall and Lily dance, and it got a little risque on the dance floor.
A little bit.
Meanwhile, everybody's still back in the apartment having the wine.
Playing Catan.
But I think the important part of all this for me was the cab ride home.
The cab ride home made me so emotional watching
Yes.
it back this time.
Because Marshall shares his feelings of, and I think that's why this show is so good because TV and life in general, and this isn't a sexist thing, this is facts, make men have to be tough.
Yeah.
And How I Met Your Mother, all three of those guys always shared how they felt.
Yes, you get to see the vulnerability in each one of them.
So Marshall shares that he's upset that he wasn't invited.
Yeah.
And kind of asks Ted why. Like, did I do something wrong? Like, you know.
And he expresses his fear of not wanting to be like left out in the dust once him and Lily get married.
Like getting engaged shouldn't be a punishment.
No, no, not at all.
You know, but again, being 20 something, you're like, engaged? What the do you mean engaged? Like, you know.
I mean, that's fair. When I got engaged, I'm pretty sure I was the only one in our entire friend group that was not only like headed to the altar, but I think I was also the only one in a like very seriously committed relationship.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else. I had several serious relationships while you guys were. So yeah, then Ted expresses how it'll always be them. And for me, what I took out of it is Ted, Marshall, and Lily, this shows that they'll always be best friends. It will always be them three. No matter what happens, how life works, they'll always be together. Yeah. And when you realize Ted and Marshall agree on that, Lily leans over and puts her head on Ted's shoulders. Mm-hmm. And Marshall's kind of like, see? And Ted's like, I get it. Yeah. So I thought it was very.
It's such a heartwarming moment, honestly. Yeah,
whatever.
It really, it made me think of You, Me, and Tim.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of.
It really, truly did, because like I know there have been plenty of moments where like you and Tim have had your differences, and a lot of them probably did stem from my input or how much I weighed in or didn't weigh in on something. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the three of us always had each other's backs. And yes. I knew that if shit was hitting the fan between Tim and I, which, you know, we lived, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I could go to you and you could be an unbiased person to not cast any judgment and also like simultaneously be there for both of us.
Yeah, it was not always easy, but it was how it should have been.
Yes. Agreed.
Is how I always felt.
Agreed. And that's how it is with them too.
And like we were talking about earlier, when you first started coming around, that's what was confusing with the club stories, because you're like, yeah, me and Tim were dating for like 4 weeks when you brought Woo Girl around.
It was very early on.
And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you guys were together before? And now I'm trying to remember me and Sam were together before you and Tim were together.
Yes.
That's crazy. In my head, that's not how it works.
You and Sam were together, like as Tim and I started dating.
Yes, like, you were dating Sam that's when I came in. That's just not how it worked. Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
So, on that note, let's share a couple of club stories.
I would love to share my favorite club story.
So, first of all, 4.5 blue French horns for that episode.
I'm gonna give it a solid 5.
You know what? I'll go 5. I'll go 5.
No complaints.
It gave very much. I could relate to every aspect, every character.
This episode,
Robin had that ego that we all get sometimes, where we're like, you know, but like kind of like our buddy John at the Thirsty Cowboy when we were seeing Mark Leach. Like, yeah, Mark sang at my wedding, but we're good. And then like Mark said 3 words to him. Like
about that.
I forgot all about that. We all get that ego. And it's not a bad thing. It's good sometimes.
Yeah. I mean,
like me in scoreboards, I'm like, what do you need? I know the bartenders.
I get that.
I'll get you set up. Don't worry about it. We're gonna need a bottle of apple pie over here. So, you know, we had that, and then Holly took that role over from me for a while, which I was happy to give away.
Yeah.
And
then Sarah took it over.
You're gonna have to guide me through our club missions.
Okay.
I
I will do my best.
yeah, so I remember. Okay, so me, you, Lex, and Tim. The first night I met Lex
Hmm.
was when we went to Exquisite for the first time, or did we go to Bar Room?
I think we went to Exquisite, but
Okay,
it wasn't the first time we went to Exquisite because me,
okay,
you, Tim, and the Woo Girl happened first.
but the Woo Girl wasn't Exquisite.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was the Rave at the Agora.
Oh my God, you're right. Wow,
That,
that explains why.
that I remember because I had messaged my friend Tata who works there.
Oh my God, you're right. That was my first winter warm up. That's what it was.
Yes,
That's what it
yes,
was.
yes, because it was so cold outside
It
waiting
was
to get inside.
so fucking
But
cold.
you guys were like, "Don't dress warm because it's gonna be warm." I'm like, "This is all terrible." I
I'm
had
in
Ted
like
Mosby from the beginning.
I'm in like fishnets and a mini skirt.
I'm like, still there, like, um. So the Woo girl, I had met her. Um, I can't remember how I met her, but we met. We had hooked up. I think like a week prior, and then we went. We I said, I think you guys invited me because I wouldn't invite you to a fucking rave.
Yeah.
Um, and I probably said, "Can I bring Woo Girl?"
Mm-hmm. It was
And you're
very
like,
much
"Yeah,
in my rave days
yeah."
back
You
then.
guys were like, "Oh, cool! Like he's not gonna third wheel it. Like
Yeah.
Brent's bringing somebody
Yeah.
sweet."
Especially so early on in our
Yeah, Tim
relationship
was probably
too.
upset, but you were like, "Sweet." Tim's like,
Excellent.
"Damn it, dude! Why is he talking to somebody?" um, and then the rest of the night is history. She was very loud. If I were to describe her as a toy, it would be one of those squeak toys that dogs have. They just are so like.
See, this is gonna sound so mean. I hope she's not following or listening.
I don't even think she's on social media, so we're
Oh,
good.
well, that's good.
But
Um,
we haven't said her
sh
name.
she reminded me of like the squeaky chicken,
Oh yes,
where
like
you squeeze the belly
yes,
and like the eyes pop out and the
yes,
limbs get longer.
yeah. So I had to take a piss, and this is very much. We were young, so like I didn't realize that everybody's intentions might not be the same.
Yeah.
And she was like, "So like, while you're in the bathroom, can I dance with guys?"
Oh
And
my God, I forgot about that.
I'm like, no.
No.
She's like, well, like, there's guys I want to dance with here, and like, I'm like, we came here together.
Right.
Like, this is a
And then
pre coming here conversation.
she had to dance with me, which was
Yeah,
just insufferable. You're welcome.
thank you. So I'm pretty sure Tim probably danced with me. So that's
Okay.
the night Tim went had his Marshall experience in the bathroom.
Tim had an honest to Christ Marshall moment. He walked into the
Minus the
bathroom.
toothache.
He walked into the bathroom and he came out and he was buzzing. Like
See, I don't remember this,
not
but I
your
think
average Bud Light buzzing. He was buzzing.
for some reason I remember that being exquisite. Now this could have been another time. Don't get me wrong. This could have been another incident where Tim did do that. Um, I do remember you being mad at him, but I don't know that I was aware enough. Actually, I just think I didn't want to argue with him about it.
Oh, I was so mad because like we forget sometimes that Tim had just turned 21 a couple months before he and I started dating.
Yes,
I was 19.
yes, and
So like I was
in fairness,
ushered
Tim was
in.
a heroin addict from pills.
Yeah.
He was,
I was ushered in as the DD because I couldn't buy drinks at the bar.
look, I don't know what you're talking about. I would have been fine not going to the fucking rave.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, whatever. Apples to apples. But like
The only rave
I
I
was
liked was that so Raven.
I
Okay.
was I was cool that he was like drinking and having a good time, getting drinks from the bar, whatever. He comes out of the bathroom just blitzed.
Yeah, I
And
don't even remember drinks being that easy to get because I couldn't maintain a buzz.
yeah, I mean, it was packed. You spent
Yeah.
forever at the bar. I remember spending so much time talking to this insufferable woman while you two
And
were
somehow I
getting
think
drinks
she
at
was
the
getting
bar.
shit faced. The shots.
The
The
shots, yes.
shots.
But
Um,
I was really mad at Tim because this was before I was like down with experimenting with drugs.
Yeah, you were young.
And I immediately just assumed that he did like some cocaine in the
Yeah,
bathroom. And I found out later, like a couple of weeks later, because I was that mad at him. I was like, nah, we ain't discussing this. I'm gonna rip your face off. I
yeah.
found out after some time to cool off that it wasn't Coke, it was Molly. And like thinking about me now, I'm like, it's just a little Molly. We were at a rave. Like that's the perfect
That's
setting
yeah. I
to
mean,
do
that's pretty
some
much you
Molly.
get it with your ticket.
But I was so mad at him.
God,
And
why
it
do
was
I
also,
remember you? Maybe it was Nick lecturing him at Exquisite.
I don't know.
I remember him doing drugs in the bathroom at Exquisite or telling us he did drugs. And somebody was pissed off and lecturing him. And it wasn't me because I was like, he did them already. So, like, what are we going to do?
What are we gonna do?
Right. I
I
mean,
was more
it
mad.
had to be Nick.
It
Had to.
probably was.
Or no, because Sarah wasn't really lecturing then. Had to be Nick.
Yeah.
Because Sarah was still pretty new at that point, too.
Yeah.
So it had to be Nick.
I was more mad, not that he did the drugs in the concert venue bathroom, but that the drugs were what made him say I love you for the first time.
Yeah, Molly will do that to you.
And he said it like kind of tipsy and also just rolling.
Shout out to Mr. Niedermeyer. The first time I met you, was the first time I did Molly, and I was high as a kite.
You should tell that on your guys' podcast.
Oh, I
You should tell
should.
that story.
That'd be great.
That'd be a great story.
I think I may have told him already.
I think you have.
Mind you, that was many, many, many years ago. God, that might actually be the last time I've done Molly, honestly.
That was the last time I did Molly.
That was probably it's not Molly's not as easy to get. Anyways, off on a tangent here. Um, yeah. Also, drugs, random drugs in a bathroom, not very safe.
No.
Not a safe thing to be doing. If anybody is listening and considering random drugs in bathrooms,
I mean, it was slightly safer in 2013.
Yeah, for
definitely
slightly.
don't.
We were probably right at the edge in 2013.
Yeah, definitely do not recommend now in 2025.
No, I don't recommend buying freaking weed now. People are lacing weed with fentanyl.
For real. For real.
So take this as our dare statement of the episode. Sponsored to you by MILFs. Don't do random drugs anywhere, anytime. And if you do, test them, right? That's what they do at raves now?
Yeah,
They
test
hand out
them.
test kits.
Mm-hmm.
Test them.
And like,
because you know what? If you're going to do
friends.
them, I prefer you don't die.
Yeah. And like, be friends with your weed dude.
Yeah. Or your MILFs.
Or your MILFs. Or both.
You know?
Be
or
friends
both.
with
Or
be
find a
friends
MILF
with
that is a drug dealer.
Be friends with your dealers and your MILFs.
The MILFs. Drug moms I'd like to, you know how it goes.
Oh, Lord.
So then, okay, so the night we met Lex, the night I met Lex was me, you, Shania Twain. That was the night me and Tim podcasted for the first time, right?
Yes, I believe so.
So
and
we all blitzed.
We all pre-gamed in your parents' basement.
Yes, but me and Tim pre-gamed like 2 hours before you guys got there.
Yeah.
Because you guys, that's back when you guys got all dolled up. Well, Lex still gets all dolled up, but she gets dolled up to go to the grocery store. we're more of the mindset of we're fucking old now. Like, whatever.
I don't even do my makeup for this podcast. I mean,
I've been trying to find a funny shirt. That's about it. So
y'all get my boobs this week.
Okay, so we went to Exquisite with Lex, and I think that's when I ran into Amber and her friend Scarlett.
Okay.
That would make sense to me.
Somewhere
in between all that, we went with Nick, and Sarah was there, and Tim. You might have came and picked us up. You might have been working or something.
I may have
something. Yeah, I can't remember, but I think that's when Tim. I think Tim later revealed he didn't do drugs in the bathroom. He did it to piss Nick off, which checks out. I mean, it's
of course he
did. Worked up.
Of course he did.
So, I remember that. Then I remember, did we ever go to barroom together?
No.
No. Okay. I went to barroom a lot when I was
No,
probably 19, 20.
I
I don't
never
think
went to barroom.
I don't think I was ever of age at bar.
Lex went to barroom a lot. And the reason I never went with her is because I was so turned off by clubs by
Yeah,
like 20 years old
I didn't like it
because
then either, but that's where everybody was going. So
because of the two instances of going to Exquisite. I was like, I'm never going back to a
yeah,
fucking
and
club.
then yeah, that rave was fucking terrible.
The rave itself wasn't bad.
Oh, then we got kicked out of the Thirsty Cowboy, which I just found out about today.
That's a great story. That's a phenomenal story.
How? So I'm going to assume we were ready. If I so I'm vaguely like it's starting to come back to me. This was the Mark Leach night, right?
No. This
Okay, so
was
this was I do know we went twice. One was me, you, and Tim, right? We drove together.
Me, you, Tim, and Ashley.
Ashley, yes.
And I think Seth was there.
Yes, he had to be, or else I would have been hitting on Tim's sister.
That's fair. That's a
Now
good
it's
point.
out in the world.
That's a good point.
So, girl, hit me up.
Yeah, it was the five of us. Actually, you know what? Lex was there too. Lex was there too because we have pictures.
Really am like
we have pictures in the Thirsty Cowboy bathroom with cowboy hats on.
oh, okay. It's coming to me. Yes,
Yep.
we were buying you guys drinks at the bar, and I was getting annoyed because I knew they were catching on to us.
Yep.
Did they try to keep Tim's ID or something?
I think so.
Yes. And that's yes. Now I remember because somebody told the bartender to go fuck themselves. You can't keep the ID. It's his ID. And
I wonder who that was.
yeah, then we proceeded to exit the building. Ashley and Seth were there because they were also buying drinks. We're all actually, I don't think I participated, to be honest with you.
No, but I know Tim was buying me drinks.
Ashley and Seth, I think, where I was. No, I don't think Seth was because I remember standing with them and talking about how we didn't think it was a good idea.
Ironically enough, when we got kicked out, I didn't even have my own drink at that point. I took one sip of the beer that was in Tim's hand because I had cotton mouth and I was thirsty.
Yes.
I didn't even have my own drink, but somebody saw me take the beer out of Tim's hand and take a swig, and they're like, "No, you gotta go."
That's like and it is so like at the time I didn't, and I never, as long as you've known me, I've never been at the bar. I've never really bought drinks for anybody under, even Sam when we dated.
Yeah.
I'd never buy her drinks. In my eyes, it was something you earned. That was something exciting to do.
Yeah.
I never drank at the bar until I was 21. One time, and I was with my dad at a company party. So, me, it was like a rite of passage.
I did. No, I lied. Never mind. I was gonna say I only did it twice, but I forgot that Timmy bartended at Bonkers before I turned 21.
True. I think you probably drank scoreboards before too.
No. I don't think I underage drank at Scoreboards. I know I underage drank at Bonkers.
Although Dave was on us like hawks at the time.
I know I underage drank at Bonkers, and then I underage drank at Bo's bar in Myrtle Beach.
Yes.
Sorry, Bo.
That don't count. No. He's a director now. He don't care.
We were on vacation. It's fine.
Yeah, so I do remember that now, getting kicked out of there. But it was almost the end of the night and stuff. I think the big hang up was they wanted to keep Tim's ID.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
Yeah. And we were like, no, you can't keep his ID. We're from Garfield. Like, this is 40 minutes away.
Right, yeah.
I'm not driving
back. And they did end up giving it back. I think they gave it back to, it wasn't Tim. It was Seth or somebody.
I think they gave it to either Seth or Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we agreed to leave upon getting the ID. That was like but I think at that point we were all ready to go anyways. Because I don't remember all being upset about it or other than the first instant. And I wasn't even upset about the kicking out because I was not for the drink. I was upset they wanted to keep his ID.
Yeah. I wasn't even upset that we were getting kicked out. I was more scared that they were going to call the cops.
Yeah.
Because I was the good girl back then.
Yeah, that's true.
I was
now
like,
you get the cops called on you all the time. 10, 15 times a week.
Fucking felon over here.
Out here. She got an ankle bracelet on right now.
Thug life.
They strapped her up. Same ankle. Strapped her up. I can make jokes like that because I had one.
Thug life with my juice and my cat at my ankle here.
I don't even drink regular Coke. It's diet. So yeah, that's all the club stories I got. I feel like I'm in a club right now because the music's blasting, but yeah, I can't think of any other than strip clubs, but that's a whole different sort of club.
Yeah, we'll get into the strip club stories
Oh,
though, because there are plenty of strip club episodes of How I Met Your
yeah,
Mother.
that is true. And I probably have a story for each and every episode.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I think the moral of the story here though is
I got tomorrow right here.
don't be in a hurry to grow up
Yes.
and clubs are bad, okay?
Yes. And Kelly, when they described her as beautiful, outgoing, all I heard was ugly, 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 ugly. So the moral of the story is if your friends are hyping somebody up, they're ugly, 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 ugly,
But
ugly.
she was actually pretty good
She
looking.
was good looking.
She was
I'm
actually pretty
glad
good
this episode
looking.
we learned what cutlet means.
I am too. I'm also glad to realize that when people leave like clubs or loud concerts and they get into like a cab, an Uber, or like
You
their
can't,
buddy's
yeah,
car,
you're always yelling at each other.
everybody else yells because I
Yeah.
thought that was a me thing and I was like, wow, I'm
Yeah.
obnoxious as shit.
No, and you know what? When we lived in Stowe and I'd go to Kent, it hit a certain time of night where the college crowd would come and those bars would get a certain decibel level, not
Yeah,
club level, but louder than I like, louder than Touch Tunes level.
loud enough.
And I would leave there on the way home yelling at people like this. And it's like, dude, like
Yep.
me and Abby and Corey would yell at each other the whole way home.
Oh my
And we're in
God.
the condo yelling at each other. Like
Yep.
the neighbors
Oh,
probably thought we were fighting, like me and
I
Corey were
remember.
killing her.
We
Like,
always knew when y'all got home
yeah, it
because
was
we could hear
terrible.
you yelling in the kitchen.
God, am I glad I'm a fucking sober person now.
We're
Yeah,
old now. It's fine.
those were interesting times, but that we were about the same age as Ted and all them. So checks out.
Well, you guys were.
We were.
I
We were
I
in the
was not.
frame. I take that as a like a 5 year period, 10 year period there.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
I wouldn't
fair.
even say
Because
10 years. 6, 7 year period is pretty much everybody's on the same level ish.
yeah, our early 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's reasonable.
the moral of the story is definitely clubs suck.
Clubs suck.
Don't be in too much of a hurry to grow up. Know who your friends are and stick by their side. You
And
don't
value
have
who
to
your
be who
friends
people
are.
think you are.
Amen to that, my friend. And
No.
don't spend $34 on two
No.
beers.
God, if you want to spend $34, send it to us.
Amen to
for
that,
more
my
equipment
friend.
and shit. Send it to
Hell
the
yeah.
podcast.
Hell yeah.
Start paying Linda.
Start paying Linda.
Um, so yeah, that's all I got on that. If you guys will check out our social medias, tip to tip pod on pretty much everything. Tip to tip pod.com is the website. That's easier. Everything's there. The videos are posted there. I'm really trying to get people to subscribe, whether it's on Apple or Spotify. Subscriptions help us. They push us forward, and eventually we can do ads and stuff that will make some kind of revenue, which would be
Yeah.
nice.
That would be
So
great.
if you guys could subscribe, please. It takes just a second. If you're listening, man, my arms look good. If
You look good.
if you can just do that for us, I would appreciate it.
And we'll keep putting out
Yeah.
hilarious, entertaining content.
Right.
All you got to do is click that subscribe button.
Yeah, just click the subscribe. We're on YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify. We watching TikTok. We Linda killed it on TikTok. The 1,000 some views you got us. Killed it. This week with your tits out, we might even get 1,004.
We might. Who knows?
Oh, and the moral is tits will get you what you want if you're a female. Let's not
Preach.
forget that big issue.
I'm not.
Yeah, if you guys can do that, check out the socials, share the video, tell your friends who like How I Met Your Mother to watch it. My manager at work is currently listening to How I Met Your Mother's. He watched the episode on and off, and he is a fan. Well, better
that.
he just listens because he feels sorry for me. One of the two, either way, we'll take it.
We'll take it. Viewership is viewership. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
how you got there.
So if you like How I Met Your Mother, and again, if you found out anything in this episode or think of anything in this episode, comment it, email it in at tiptotippodcast@gmail.com. Anything you want us to talk about, any questions you have for us, if you were in any of these stories and remember them differently, please feel free to share.
Let us know.
Let us know. This is just our perspective. Obviously, I didn't remember half of them, so thank God Linda did. And it is ironic that we are talking about my first podcast with your husband ever.
Yeah, isn't it though?
It is.
Isn't it though? Shout out No Morals Radio.
No Morals Radio. Good times.
Shout it
Check it
out.
out. I don't even know if you can check it out. I mean,
I
I
don't think
even
you
know how
can.
do that.
The
I think
Facebook
it's
page
on
still exists.
man, I think it's on oh, what was the streaming service all the rappers use? SoundCloud?
Oh my God. Wow.
It might be on SoundCloud.
Damn.
If it's on SoundCloud, I'm about to publish it
You
on this.
should.
I
You
will.
should.
I'll make it a bonus episode.
Hell yeah. We love that.
Yeah. All right, guys. As always, thank you. We love you guys. 5 out of 5. Blue Front.
5 out of 5.
And Linda, till next week.
Up top.
Up top.
Hey.
Later.
Bye.
Maybe. Hold on. Where's my mouse at?
Wait for it.
There. Oh, now it's there. Now it's here. There we go. Later.
Bye.